Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cybersecurity Clarity. My name is Andre, and welcome to the first ever podcast. I am very delighted to have one of my mentees here with me, and everyone, this is Anthony. How you doing, man?
I'm very fine, thank you. Thank you so much for having me today.
No problem. Hey, thanks so much for doing this. I'm really excited because you have such an interesting background and such a cool cybersecurity story. So I'm sure people will learn a lot from your experience as well as like how we've worked together the past couple of weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So why don't we start out? Why don't you give us a quick intro about who you are and a little bit of your background in cybersecurity so far?
Okay, my name is Anthony. I'm originally from Nigeria, but I'm currently in the United States for my master's degree in cybersecurity. Actually, started my career in IT in 2014, where I did a lot of self-studying. Learned A plus, Network plus, and Server plus as well. From there, I got my very first job as a system engineer for a startup company where I did my very first networking, trying to connect a lot of computers together to get all of them talking. From there, I did a lot of freelancing job for individuals and organization as well. Before I got a freelancing gig with a Microsoft partner to work as
Mhm.
a technical support specialist, where we help the Microsoft consumer line of business resolve issues relating to Windows, Office, OneDrive, Teams, just name it, almost all Microsoft products and services.
Mhm.
Before I came into the United States to study cybersecurity. But what actually got me interested in cybersecurity was because I've been doing technical support for like a very long time.
Mhm.
Uh, at some point, it was becoming very boring for me. Yeah, I wanted to do, I wanted to advance in my career, right? But
Mhm.
something actually happened that made me switch to cybersecurity. This is going to be a very interesting story, but I'm going to try to
Okay.
be short.
No, no,
Um,
no.
so so my brother's phone got stolen years back, I think probably in 2015 or
Mhm.
16. And what baffled me was how his phone got stolen and the phone was locked, it was passworded. But I really didn't understand how these guys um, unlocked the phone, got access to his bank account, and removed all the money in all his bank accounts. It was really disturbing. So I was really curious, and I felt so bad at the same time. Knowing
Mhm.
pretty well I'm into IT and I couldn't do anything as at that time to assist my brother.
Mhm.
So I became so curious. I was like, okay, since I'm done with my BSc program in computer science, I need to study cybersecurity to learn how these, hackers, can
Mhm.
actually somebody's device and have access to it and do whatever it is they want to do. So I became very interested in cybersecurity. So I started taking a lot of courses relating to cybersecurity. So my experience is actually coming from the self studies I've done in the past, you know, coupled with my work experiences, which helped me realize the importance of securing digital environments. Also, I worked on projects like MISP, Splunk, in-paper automation, along with focusing on key areas like threat intelligence, integration and API automation. My passion for this field grew as I started learning more about how critical cybersecurity is for businesses and individuals.
Mm, 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 mhm. So you're coming from a unique perspective because number one, 2015 was the year when cybersecurity really started to become interesting, where the world started to recognize how important it was. And B, you're not just an entry level person who's never done tech before. You've done IT in the past and you're now only pivoting, right?
Definitely, that's correct.
Okay. So then I guess one of the questions that I had was you did a lot of things that a lot of beginners haven't done when it comes to self-study. I wanted to know a bit more about the motivation behind that. Like what drew you to say, okay, I'm doing cybersecurity now, so these are the steps I'm going to take on my own.
Yeah, so for me, I didn't get into the university very early.
Mhm,
So after my, college degree, back then in Africa, we used to call it secondary school.
mhm,
It was difficult for me to, get into. Initially, I wanted to study mechanical engineering, right? But
mhm,
I missed 1 or 2 marks during, the exams to get into school. So that was actually delaying me, and I was like, okay, do you know what else can I do apart from mechanical engineering? Because I just love to fix things with my hand. And then
mhm,
computer science came up, So before then, before I gained admission to study computer science, self-studying was like my school, right? Instead of staying at home doing nothing, I needed to pick up something, So I was reading, taking a lot of certification courses in IT. Um, and that was what actually helped me, while I was waiting for admission, I was already studying and getting certifications. That's why if you go through my LinkedIn page right now, you see that I have 30 plus certifications. These are
mhm.
what that have been done in the past. So that's what actually helps me.
Yeah, and I'm looking at your LinkedIn right now, and the count is, I think, 40 certifications. You have 40 certifications, which is very, very impressive. And mind you, these are all certifications that you've taken your own time to go through. You've taken your own time to run through. And some of these certifications are just going through trainings with assessments, correct?
Exactly, that's correct.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. This is the reason why I bring this up, right? Is because this podcast is intended for people that are getting into the cybersecurity industry. And you're in an interesting position because you've done all this training, you've done all these certifications, you're finishing up your master's. And one of the reasons why you reached out to me was because you were prepping to get like fully into the field, correct?
True, of course, I needed a mentor because one of the issues I had was so at some point it felt like I was all over the place. I didn't know what I wanted to do because I had no mentor. Everything I was doing was self-studying, but
Mm-hmm.
when I came over to the US, I realized things work differently, right? You need to
Mm-hmm.
make action, you need a mentor, you need somebody to guide you through the right path, and then I found you.
Mm-hmm. You did. I'm curious, what was it about the profile, my profile that you saw that was like, hey, I want to work with him?
Well, first of all, I think I went through your headline. I saw, yeah, the skills, you have as per, the cybersecurity, the GRC. I saw a lot of mentors, right? But when I streamlined, I felt like I think this person is the right person for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter the race or color. I just felt like, something just tells me, okay, hey, it has to be Audrey, So I was like, okay, I'm going to go for him. So yeah.
I appreciate that. Oh, so for those of you who are watching and listening, the site that he's talking about, it's called Cyber, and it's on pushfar.com. It's a way to connect mentees with mentors. So if you're looking for a mentor or a mentee, you can go to that site, or you can reach out to me, descriptions down below. Now, that being said, with your mentorship and what you were looking for in cybersecurity, what were the goals that you were going for? And like, how far have we gone so far, in your own words?
For me, I think we are 90% done because I always want to leave room for improvement. Because
Mm-hmm,
when I started the mentorship program with you, my resume was not intact, my LinkedIn needed work. So these are like the things we've touched on, over the past few weeks of, the mentorship sessions with you. And I'm grateful for the opportunity, coupled with the fact that, I also have access to resources that I never knew existed. So yeah, we
mm-hmm.
just keep on making progress, on every session we have.
Yeah, that's very true. And I must add that your when I first saw your experience, I thought I was thinking this is very different from the normal mentees I get, because normal mentees I get, sometimes they don't have a LinkedIn at all. Sometimes they have no cybersecurity experience or not even any certification. So when I saw you, I said, okay, I definitely want to work with Anthony because I know he's going to do amazing things down the line, which brings me to my question. So one of the questions I had was, what roles are you looking to do in the future?
For me, I want to focus on penetration testing. Just like
Yes.
I said, I actually had to in mind either penetration testing or cybersecurity forensic. And this is because of the story I told earlier about my brother's phone getting missing, and I was so curious about how a hacker can actually get into somebody's device and access it and gain a lot of information. So yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like that moment with your brother was really impactful to your decision to become a cybersecurity professional.
True, I totally agree with that.
So then, when you say you want to be a penetration tester, is it from the mindset of you want to understand a hacker's thought process, or you want to know how they did the hacking so you can prevent what happened to your brother to happen to other people?
Well, for me, I would say it's both because first of all, for you to beat these hackers, you need to understand how they think, right? And so you can
Hmm.
put your own, algorithm or, defensive, mechanism to, defeat them. Because the truth is, these hackers are not going to stop, hacking into our devices, right? So we just
Hmm.
need to be one step ahead of the game.
That's very, very true. So then, if you want to become a penetration tester, is that the first role you wanting to get right out of, like, first role that you get when you start getting into the industry, or do you have steps that you want to take in order to get to pen testing?
Well, for me, I would say I would reserve penetration testing for the last right now because I believe there are a lot of things I need to learn. I need to know along the way. So for now, maybe in network, security. I can start from network security first. Before I'll move on to penetration testing because there are a lot of things you need to know before you go into penetration testing.
Yeah, 100%. Because the way that I've explained to some people is when you become a network engineer or a network admin, right? You have to set up your network securely, which involves understanding firewalls, IDS and IPSs, seams and whatnot. And so there is a high element of security in networking. So was that your mindset of learning in that environment and then pivoting?
Well, I think this is due to my internship at Hobby Lobby because I was
Mm,
working with the security team. So I kind of have an idea of how, what the job description looks like and, my day-to-day, activities. Because just like I said earlier, I was working on, projects relating to MISP and InPaper. These are, security platforms used to gather intelligence. I also block, malicious, IP
mhm.
or IPCs, trying to gain access into the network. So I have like understanding of how, this thing works.
I see, I see. So then that brings me to another question is because right now, getting a job in cybersecurity in October of 2024, it's a little challenging because some companies say we want to see experience. We want to see what you can do. Yes, we like that cybersecurity, but we want to see that you've done it, right? So an internship definitely shows that. So I'm curious, how did you go about finding that internship, applying and getting it? Because I know a lot of people will want to know that answer.
Well, for me, if I'm going to give you what you one answer, I'm going to say networking because I applied for so many jobs. First of all, I thought it was going to be easy, coming into the United States to study cybersecurity because I
Mm,
believe the United States is a level playing ground. If you have the skills, you get the job. Can become anybody in the United States, right? But
mhm.
then again, when I came in and I noticed it was very difficult, getting this internship, as a cybersecurity student. So
Mhm.
what I did was, I had to network, right? I joined one or two organizations where, a lot of informations were being distributed, and somebody working from Hobby Lobby just posted, "Oh, there's an opening for internship," and I
Mhm.
applied. And to my surprise, they got back to me, did the interview, and I got it. So
Wow.
networking, I would say networking is very key.
I think, yeah, I definitely agree because as you and I have talked, I keep mentioning how your net worth is your network and how it's so much easier to get a job when you know other people. So, did you know a professor or someone at the university who knew someone at Hobby Lobby, or what was the connection to connect with Hobby Lobby there?
Okay, so the person that actually gave us that information used to be a student of my school, Oklahoma City University.
Hmm.
But she's an alumni right now. She's graduated, but it just happens to that she was on that same group I was in,
Hmm.
and I was opportune to be part of that group and also get the information to apply for that internship. Also, few of my professor knew people, or at least they have relatives that work with Hobby Lobby. But as at that time, I didn't know. It was when I got the internship. I told them, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I have a brother, a sister, cousin
Hmm.
that works for this company."
Oh, I see. So then you spoke to your friends and your professors, and they connected you with someone who was there that essentially like was able to get your resume to the top of the stack.
Definitely.
That's yeah, I think that's a phenomenal way that you went about it. I know that some listeners who are listening are nervous about networking because they think it's ungenuine, that it's not real, that you're just using other people. But you seem like a very genuine person that cares about people. So I was curious how you view networking, what lens you view it from.
Well, for me, networking is everything for me. If you ask me, I
Mm,
would say networking is family, right?
mm,
You don't have to necessarily know these people. You have to, extend your hand. You have to reach out to them.
mhm,
So while you're communicating, you're getting to know them, and you're getting, and then if you ask the right question as well, you're going to get the right answers, because we see a lot of people these days trying to do networking the wrong way. So you need to
mm.
go about networking the right way. Being respectful, ask the right questions. So when you put in all these things together, of course, the result at the end is going to be great.
Hmm. Hmm. I couldn't agree more because it's when you're networking, I believe that it should come from a place of gifting and gratitude, right? Because the more you give, then without expecting anything in return, well then that helps you feel better and it feels something in the universe that essentially gives back, which is why I do the mentoring thing for free and why I have that course up there for free, because I feel like there are a lot of people that have really benefited from it. Like you, what would you say was the best resource that you got from our mentorship so far?
Well, the truth is, I can't say one, because trust me, every time we have a section, every time we have a section, there's always a resources for me to go back with. So yeah, there are always resources, right? Like that's the good thing about the internet. There are a lot of resources, but you just need to get the right resources for you, or else you're just going to be all over the place.
Hmm. Hmm. So what Anthony's talking about here is every time we have a mentoring session, I try to give my mentees a gift of some sort. One time, I'm pretty sure I gave you like half a page of just links, and then
That's
you
true.
were smiling so big afterwards. Say like this is such good information. Um, yeah, and I'm curious then, like was there anything in the research that you thought, oh, I did not know this. I wish I'd known this?
Yeah, there were a lot of information on that resources that I didn't know existed. Right now, the funny thing is, one of the things that actually surprised me was I thought I knew it, or I thought, I mean, I could just easily go on Google and type in whatever information or resources I'm looking for. Of course, Google might actually give me those resources, but it won't be compiled like the one you give to me. So that shows that you've actually done your research. It's like, oh, you've been documenting this thing from years back, and they're all updated, and these are like the right information you need for whatever field in IT or cybersecurity and the individual is going for.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. 100%. So you are correct that I've taken everything that I've learned and people I've spoken to, events I've gone to, and kind of like smushed it together in a package that's nice and easy for a someone getting into cybersecurity to ingest and slowly baby step them into the world of cybersecurity. Because would you say that the cybersecurity world is vast amount of knowledge?
It is because I mean, the thing about technology is it evolves every day, right? That's why you have to
Mm,
keep learning. So yeah, it's a very vast, technological space. So you just have to keep yourself updated, and that's where networking also comes in. When you join the right group or the right network, you get informed about what's going on in the cybersecurity world.
mm. Yeah, no, the I think it's interesting that the cybersecurity industry exists because there's a whole group of people that do nefarious things. So a whole industry has to exist in order to protect against those nefarious things. And you're going to become a pen tester. So being on the red team, you're going to be able to see the both sides of it, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So like I'm curious, what areas of red teaming are you interested in? Are you mainly interested in being a white hat? Are you interested in the social engineering piece? Or what type of pen testing are you, or web applications even, since you worked in networking? Do you have an idea of which direction you want to go?
Of course, I'm going to be a white hack because we want to do things, we want to do things following policy and not, breaking any rules. Why, we are doing what we do. Because of course we know there are a lot of various type of hackers out there. There are gray hats, there are black hats. People who do good and bad, people who do bad, and the white hats hackers just focus on the white doing the good, helping you uh, find vulnerabilities and probably provide you with
Mm,
information how to take care of that.
yeah, no, I think that's awesome. Now, just for our listeners or our watchers who don't know what a white hat is, can you help kind of explain what that is to them?
So White House hackers, in simpler terms, these are like the good guys, right? So they try to, with permission from the organization or from the individual, they try to get into your system and look for loopholes. And when they find these loopholes, they document it and probably give you suggestions or solution on how to, close down those loopholes so you don't get hacked.
Mm-hmm. And the opposite of that is a black hat hacker who essentially does
That's,
everything maliciously without permission.
that's
Um,
correct.
Now, when it comes to cybersecurity, white hats and black hats, I know that some people have like an idea in their mind of what cybersecurity is. In the movies, you'll see people in a hood just like typing on a computer in a dark room. What do you think are some the biggest misconceptions people have about cybersecurity now that you've done all this education and learning about it?
Well, for me, I think well, I don't want to say cybersecurity is not easy because people who are different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. So for me, I would say you can't do it, right? Because people make cybersecurity look like it's a very difficult thing to do. But I think they're forgetting that there are a lot of areas in cybersecurity that you can actually go into, which brings me to GRC, which is what
Mm-hmm.
part of the things you are focusing on, right? So people can actually go into GRC, where they make sure policies, companies follow policies and and all that. So yeah, that's going to be it for me. Cybersecurity is not as difficult or as scary as people make it to look. It's something anybody can do, but you just need to focus on a particular aspect in cybersecurity.
Except for subnetting, right?
So I struggled. I really struggle with subnetting, right? I can't count how
Uh,
many courses I've taken on subnetting.
So for those of you who don't know, subnetting is the art of you can do conversions from binary to an actual IP address like 192.172, all that. Those are all really just ones and zeros that you
Yeah.
calculate in octets. If that confused you and you didn't like that, That's why subnetting is one of the least liked subjects in cybersecurity. But
Exactly.
outside of that, I would say you're absolutely right. Some people forget that cybersecurity is a subnet, a subsection of information security. So there's information security, then there's cybersecurity, and then on two other branches, there's GRC and privacy, right? And so I talk about this in my class a little bit about how GRC and privacy, they're a little less technical than actual cybersecurity, because this is where you have the SOC, pen testing, security engineers, and blue team, red team, and all that. But you still need to be a little technical, at least be able to speak the language and understand technology to work in privacy and GRC. However, I love the fact that you brought up GRC, because people don't typically think of GRC when they think cybersecurity. They just think about the hackers, you know?
Yeah, that's correct.
So on that path, since you've done a lot of certifications, right? Since cybersecurity is such a, excuse me, is such a certification focused career where there's so many certifications that you can get, do you have an idea of maybe the top 3 certifications you're going to get in the next like 3 years or so?
Um, for me right now, I'm working towards getting my Network Plus, Security Plus, and maybe a CISSP.
The big one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so Net Plus, Sec Plus, the CISSP. Yeah, that's once you have the CISSP, I think that's like the golden check mark of
Exactly.
cybersecurity. I will also say though, one of the most talented cybersecurity professionals I know doesn't have a single certification, but he can walk circles around anyone when it comes to just talking about a network topology and the vulnerabilities. Um, so the other thing I want to ask you is kind of the flip coin. We've been talking about cybersecurity and how great it is. What do you think are some of the pros and cons of cybersecurity?
Well, for me, the cons will be, or let me start from the pros, right? First of all, people want to go into cybersecurity because they feel, oh, there are a lot of money in this field. Of course, I totally agree with you. There are a lot of money, but they're
Mhm,
also forgetting that it needs time, it needs dedication. So I mean, when you have the time, you have the dedication, you have the passion, of course you're going to succeed, right? But
mhm,
these days they just want fast money. They want to go into cybersecurity because of the money, and then they don't know anything about cybersecurity, or they don't even know where to start from. They don't know
mhm,
the foundation. So I think people need help in that field. The con for me would be, just like I said again, you shouldn't go into it because of the money, right? You need to, have passion for this thing. You need to have the time. You need to be dedicated. Uh,
mhm,
a lot of times you're gonna feel like it's overwhelming, but what's gonna keep you going is the passion and the dedication you have for it.
mhm. That is so true, because there's always learning to be done in cybersecurity, right? Some jobs, if you just learn the basics and just learn like the flat things that you need to do, you don't need to learn anything else, like maybe a couple times. With cybersecurity, you constantly have to stay up to date with the threats, which my next question is, how do you stay up to date with all the threats that are happening in the world and whatnot?
Yeah, first of all, also thanks to you, because in one of our session you give me a lot of cybersecurity individuals to follow on LinkedIn, newsletters, websites. So I'll believe our listeners today. Also tell them to do the same thing. You need to follow a lot of cybersecurity professionals out there, but on LinkedIn, Twitter. I also advise you set up maybe a dedicated email address, to subscribe for this, cybersecurity, related news.
Mm-mm. So then you have websites that you follow. and or people that you follow and newsletters that you signed up for that this amazing mentor, mysterious mentor of yours gave you, right?
Definitely. Thanks to you.
Well, that's a phenomenal answer. The reason why I asked that question is because that is a question that is asked by companies when they interview you about cybersecurity, because they want to know that you're actively continually learning, that you're still practicing and whatnot. So yeah, that's cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead and start going into some closing questions, right? So before we go into the closing questions, is there anything that you want to bring up or anything about cybersecurity that you think might be interesting to mention?
Well, I would say before going into cybersecurity, I think people should, do a proper research,
Mm,
or probably start from the foundation. When I say foundation, I mean learning what a computer system is, in general. Maybe you could take like a computer fundamental courses. And one of the courses I'm going to recommend, based on experience, and I've taken a lot of courses, years back, is the Google IT cybersecurity certification. I think
mhm.
that's a good place to start from. Then you can take it take it up from there.
Yeah, very true. And they have a lot of discount codes on Coursera, so typically you'll get it for free. The only thing you need to do is put in the time and effort. So
Sure.
love that. Love that. Additionally, for anyone who's listening, I would also suggest taking a look at ISC squared. They have certified in cybersecurity. It's an entry level one. It's completely free as well. Those are two entry level certs that everyone can take too. Okay. Going into the three final questions I have here, one of them is what's advice you would give to anyone trying to get their foot in the door with cybersecurity?
Um, for me, I would say they should start with the basics. Just like I said earlier, you need to understand what networking and how system works.
Mm,
Once you're comfortable, you can explore certification like the Computer Security Plus, which will help solidify, your foundation.
yeah, yeah, 100%. Okay. And then the other question is, what do you wish other people would know about cybersecurity that they don't?
Yeah, just like we mentioned earlier, cybersecurity is not just about hacking, right?
Mm,
It's about problem solving, continuous learning. I think people should often overlook the softer sides like, collaboration and communication, which are, for me, I would say they're very, very important because I'll say that's what, got me in my internship with Hobby Lobby, networking,
mm,
communicating and collaborating.
So putting yourselves out there and collaborating with other people will open a lot of doors.
True.
Yeah. Okay. And this is the last question. The question is, do you have any final words of advice for anyone currently listening on the podcast about cybersecurity?
Yeah, my advice would be don't be afraid. You need to just dive in. It might seem overwhelming at first, but your practice and expose yourself to challenges. The more confident you become, the more easy these things will become for you as well.
Mm, I think that's a fantastic way to end. That is a that is a really brave thing to do, to be doing cybersecurity, but know that it is doable. If someone like me can definitely be in this profession, I'll tell you all another story about me sometime in the future. But yeah, Anthony, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. Well, everyone else who's listening, if you're interested in becoming a mentee or in taking the courses or checking out all of the resources that Anthony and I were talking about, there'll be links down in the description. So feel free to click those. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is a free video / free podcast. So that like and subscribe really helps us a lot. And yeah. All right, Anthony, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me once again.
All right. Bye, everyone.